The crash came before the thought. Metal screamed across 3 lanes of Interstate 90, tires skidding over black ice just outside Chicago. Owen Harper didn't see the pickup until it was sideways in front of him. He yanked the wheel, felt the sickening lift of weightlessness, and then the world rolled. Glass burst inward. The airbag detonated. The taste of iron filled his mouth. When the car stopped moving, there was only the hiss of the engine and his own breath. Ragged, panicked. "I can't feel my leg," he whispered to no one. Sirens wailed somewhere beyond the snow. He woke up in a white room at Northwestern Memorial Hospital with a brace running from hip to ankle and a dull, drilling ache that made thinking difficult. A nurse leaned over him. "You're lucky, Mr. Harper. Compound fracture, but no spinal damage." "Lucky." He stared at the ceiling and thought about the warehouse in Cicero, the crews waiting on his calls, the shipments moving in and out under his supervision. Owen was a logistics operations manager. Precision, timing, control, that was his world. When Camille arrived, her heels clicked sharply against the hospital tile. She was perfectly dressed despite the storm, camel coat, hair smooth, lips a careful red. She kissed his forehead. "Oh my God, Owen," she breathed. "You scared me." "I'll be back to work in a few weeks," he said automatically. The doctor cleared his throat. "Recovery will be several months. He won't be weight-bearing for at least 8. Camille's fingers tightened slightly on his hand. He noticed. "That's fine," she said quickly. "I'll handle things." At first, her voice was honey. Back home in their condo overlooking Lake Michigan, she arranged pillows, adjusted his medication schedule, told friends, "He needs rest, no stress." She took his phone when it buzzed. "I'll talk to them," she insisted. "You don't need the pressure." "I can answer," Owen said. "You're on oxycodone, Owen. You slur, let me do it." He let her. The first escalation was small enough to ignore. "Where's the mail?" he asked one afternoon. "I switched it to digital statements. Easier." "Why?" "Because I said so," she replied lightly, then caught herself. "Because it's efficient, don't overthink it." He felt the shift like a draft under a closed door. A week later, his colleague Marcus called. Camille answered on speaker before Owen could reach the phone. "Hey man," Marcus said, "we need you on the Henderson contract." "He's not capable right now," Camille cut in smoothly. "He gets confused." Owen blinked. "I'm not confused." Marcus hesitated. Camille maybe let him. "I'm protecting him," she snapped softly. "You don't see him at night." After the call ended, Owen stared at her. "Why would you say that?" She crossed her arms. "Because you can't even walk to the kitchen without help. You think you can manage a multi-million-dollar contract." "That's my job." "Was," she corrected. The word lodged in his chest. Visitors came less often. When his sister Dana from New York tried to FaceTime, Camille told her, "He's sleeping. The pain makes him irritable." Dana texted Owen directly. Camille said, "Don't answer. You'll exhaust yourself." One evening, Camille hosted 2 neighbors from their building. Wine glasses clinked. Owen maneuvered slowly from the bedroom to join them. Camille smiled too brightly. "Careful, he falls easily." "I don't fall," Owen said. She laughed. "You did last week." "I slipped." "It's the same thing," she said, dismissive. The neighbors exchanged glances. Later, after they left, Owen said quietly, "You didn't have to embarrass me." "I wasn't embarrassing you," Camille replied, stacking dishes. "I was explaining reality." "My reality." "Our reality," she corrected. "You're not the man you were 6 weeks ago." "And whose fault is that?" She turned sharply. "Don't you dare make this about me." "I didn't." "You implied it," she said. "I didn't tell you to speed in a snowstorm." He felt heat rise in his face. "The roads were clear when I left." "Excuses," she muttered. That night, long after she fell asleep, Owen stared at the city lights flickering across the lake. His leg throbbed. His pride throbbed harder. The next escalation came wrapped in sweetness. "I moved some money around," Camille said one morning, placing coffee beside him. "Just temporary." "What do you mean?" "I refinanced the condo. Lower rate. It's in my name now because you can't sign." "I can sign." "You shake." "I can sign," he repeated. She sighed dramatically. "Why are you fighting me? I'm saving us." Show me the paperwork. I filed it already. Camille. She leaned close, her voice dropping. Do you want to lose everything because you're too stubborn to admit you're weak right now? Weak. He swallowed the word like broken glass. Let me see it, he said again. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You need rest. That night he woke to the soft glow of her laptop in the living room. Her voice was low, urgent. Yes, once the transfer clears, she said. He won't even notice. He's barely aware half the time. Owen didn't move. He didn't make a sound. He listened. And for the first time since the crash, something inside him stopped hurting and started sharpening. Owen didn't confront her the next morning. He watched. Camille moved through the condo with the confidence of someone who believed the room belonged to her alone. She hummed while making calls, paced near the windows overlooking Lake Michigan, her voice lower than usual. He signs nothing, she said into her phone. I'm managing it, yes, sole authorization. Owen sat at the dining table with his brace propped on a chair, hands steady despite the dull ache in his leg. When she ended the call, he asked casually, who was that? Insurance, she replied without missing a beat. What about? You're spiraling, she said. That's what the pain meds do. I stopped taking them 3 days ago. Her eyes flickered. You should have told me, she snapped. That's dangerous. I wanted a clear head. For what? You're not going anywhere. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Later that afternoon, he tried logging into their joint bank account from his laptop. The password didn't work. He tried again. Locked out. Did you change the login? He asked when she came out of the shower. Yes, she said calmly, wrapping her hair in a towel. You kept mistyping it. Because I don't know the new one. You don't need it. It's my account. It's our account, she corrected, and right now I'm the one functioning. He studied her face. You think I'm not functioning. I think you're fragile, she said, and pride makes fragile men reckless. He didn't respond. The next escalation came that weekend. Dana flew in from New York unannounced. When the doorbell rang, Camille stiffened. Who would come without calling? Dana stood outside in a wool coat, wind-blown and fierce. I wanted to see my brother. Camille forced a smile. He's resting. I'll decide that, Dana replied, stepping inside. Owen felt relief surge through him. Dana. She hugged him carefully. You look better than she described. Camille's jaw tightened. He has good days and bad. I'm having a good one, Owen said. Dana looked between them. Why didn't you tell me about the refinance? Owen's head snapped toward Camille. What refinance? Camille laughed softly. Dana, please, financial decisions aren't group discussions. I saw the public filing, Dana said. It's in Cook County records, sole ownership transfer. Owen's pulse pounded in his ears. You transferred the condo. It was strategic, Camille said sharply. If something happens to him, creditors. I'm not dying, Owen said. You don't know that, she fired back. You think accidents send warnings. Dana folded her arms. Why didn't you include him? Because he can't handle stress, Camille said. Look at him, he's shaking. Owen looked down. His hands were steady. You're isolating him, Dana said. Get out, Camille replied coldly. This is his home, too. Not legally anymore. The silence that followed was suffocating. Owen spoke carefully. Dana, can you give us a minute? She hesitated, then nodded and stepped into the hallway. Owen turned to Camille. You changed ownership without telling me. I protected us. You protected yourself. Her eyes flared. You think I'd stay if I didn't love you? I'm carrying everything. The mortgage, the bills, your hospital debt. I have savings. Not anymore. His stomach dropped. What did you do? I consolidated. Into what? She crossed her arms. Into accounts that make sense. In your name. Silence. He exhaled slowly. You forged my signature. She didn't deny it. You said I shake, he continued, but I can sign. You weren't in a state to consent, she said. Legally, I acted in your best interest. You're not my guardian. Maybe I should be. The words landed heavier than the crash. Dana re-entered the room. What's going on? Camille's voice shifted instantly, soft, wounded. He's confused. He doesn't remember agreeing. I never agreed, Owen said quietly. Dana looked at him. Did you? No. Camille's composure cracked for half a second before reforming. He was medicated. I stopped the meds, Owen repeated. Dana stepped closer to him. You need copies of everything. Camille's tone sharpened. You're meddling. I'm protecting my brother. You don't live here, Camille shot back. You don't see him at 3 in the morning when he can't move. I move, Owen said. Barely. Dana held his gaze. Call me if you need anything. After she left, Camille rounded on him. You humiliated me. I asked questions. You let her attack me. She cited public records. You're ungrateful, Camille hissed. I gave up projects in Los Angeles to stay here with you. I didn't ask you to. You think I wanted this, she demanded. A broken husband and mounting debt. The word broken echoed. Owen felt something settle inside him, not anger but clarity. I'm not broken, he said evenly. She stared at him as if seeing someone unfamiliar. That night while she slept, he maneuvered to the desk and opened her laptop. She'd been careless. The folder labeled tax drafts held scanned PDFs, his signature pasted beneath refinancing documents, retirement withdrawals, a pending property investment in Seattle under her name alone. He copied everything onto a flash drive. When he returned to bed, Camille stirred. Where were you? Bathroom. You need help. I'll manage. Her hand tightened briefly on his arm, as if testing how much strength he had. He didn't flinch. Inside, the sharpening continued. Owen didn't sleep after that. By dawn, the sky over Lake Michigan was pale steel, and the city hummed awake beneath their balcony. He stared at the flash drive in his hand like it was something alive. At 7, Camille walked into the kitchen in a silk robe. Why are you up? Couldn't sleep. You should have taken the meds. I'm fine. She poured coffee and didn't offer him any. I have a meeting downtown, she said. Seattle investors, big opportunity. With whose money? He asked. She paused mid-sip. Ours. Show me. You're obsessed, she replied. This paranoia isn't healthy. I want transparency. You want control, she snapped. That's different. After she left, Owen made his first quiet move. He called a physical therapy clinic in downtown Chicago he'd researched the night before. Lakeview Rehabilitation, a receptionist answered. My name is Owen Harper, he said. I need an evaluation, discreet. Insurance. I'll pay out of pocket. There was a pause. We can see you tomorrow. The next afternoon, he took a rideshare while Camille was at a marketing event in River North. The clinic smelled faintly of antiseptic and eucalyptus. His therapist, a broad-shouldered man named Victor, studied his file. You've been undertreated, Victor said bluntly. Why haven't you started structured rehab? My wife said I wasn't ready. Victor looked up sharply. You're ready. Pain tore through Owen's leg as he stood without the brace for the first time in weeks. You're stronger than you think, Victor said. Owen gritted his teeth. Good. Back home that evening, he exaggerated his limp. Camille watched him struggle to sit. See, you're pushing too hard. I'll get there, he murmured. She smiled faintly, not without me. The next escalation came in the form of paperwork. I scheduled an evaluation, Camille said 2 days later. A cognitive assessment. For what? To document your mental state. My mental state is fine. It's precautionary, she insisted, if something happens legally. Legally, he repeated. If creditors question your decisions, we'll have proof you weren't capable. It protects us. It protects you, he corrected. Her eyes flashed. You think I'm your enemy. I think you're building a case. For what? He held her gaze. Incompetence. She laughed, but it was thin. You're spiraling again. Cancel it. No. His jaw tightened. I won't go. You don't have a choice. Watch me. Silence crackled between them. That night she called someone from the balcony. The sliding glass door was cracked just enough for him to hear. Yes, if we file in Illinois citing diminished capacity, she said. Owen's pulse slowed instead of racing. Diminished capacity. He opened his phone and recorded the rest of the conversation. The next morning, he called a law firm in downtown Chicago. He asked specifically for someone experienced in financial fraud and marital asset disputes. 2 days later, he sat across from attorney Rachel Kim in a glass-walled office overlooking the Chicago River. She flipped through the copies he'd printed. She refinanced without disclosure, transferred retirement funds, initiated property investments in her name alone, and is pursuing a cognitive evaluation, Rachel summarized. Yes. And you have recordings. Yes. Rachel leaned back. You're not the first person underestimated in a recovery. What are my options? You stay quiet, she said. Let her complete her paper trail. The more she moves, the clearer the pattern. Then we file. For divorce. For fraud. He absorbed that. Do you want revenge? Rachel asked. No. What do you want? My name back. She nodded slowly, then patience. The escalations at home grew sharper. Camille began correcting him in front of people more aggressively. At a dinner with 2 of her colleagues visiting from Los Angeles, she said lightly, Owen tried to log into the bank again, locked himself out. I was checking a statement, he replied calmly. You see, she told them, he forgets. I don't forget. One colleague shifted uncomfortably. Maybe let him explain. It's fine, Camille said, cutting him off. He's sensitive. Later, when the guests left, Owen said, You enjoy that. Enjoy what? Making me small. She stared at him. You are small right now. He stepped closer than she expected, standing straighter than she'd seen in weeks. Not for long. Something flickered across her face, uncertainty. Don't threaten me, she said softly. I'm not. He returned to the couch and picked up a book. The following week, she escalated further. I met with a financial advisor in Seattle, she announced. We're liquidating another account. We're not. We are. I didn't approve it. You don't need to. That's illegal. Prove it, she whispered. The challenge hung between them. Owen didn't respond. Instead, he attended 3 more therapy sessions, each one increasing his strength. Victor clapped him on the shoulder after a session where he walked unassisted across the room. You're ready to ditch the brace, Victor said. Not yet, Owen replied. For what? Timing. When he returned home, Camille was on the phone again. Yes, by the time he realizes it'll be done, she said. He doesn't fight. Owen stood in the hallway, balanced without support. For the first time since the crash on Interstate 90, he smiled. She thought he didn't fight. She had no idea he was preparing to. Camille decided to celebrate. I'm hosting dinner next Saturday, she announced one evening, scrolling through her phone. My parents are flying in from Phoenix, a few colleagues from Seattle too. Owen looked up from the couch, brace visible, posture deliberately slouched. Celebrating what? Resilience, she replied smoothly. Mine. He let that settle. She continued, I've carried this household for 6 months. People should see that. They already do, he said quietly. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Don't be bitter. I'm not. You are, she insisted, and it's not attractive. He studied her face, the confidence, the assumption that the narrative was airtight. Do you want me at the dinner? He asked. She smiled thinly. Of course, it would look strange if you hid. I don't hide. You withdraw, she corrected. That's worse. The week leading up to the dinner, tensions escalated almost daily. She scheduled the cognitive evaluation again, without telling him. I confirmed for Thursday, she said casually over breakfast. Downtown, 10 a.m. I told you I'm not going. You don't get to decide that. I do. You can barely walk. He stood, not fully upright, but close enough that she noticed. I can walk, he said evenly. She held his gaze for a long moment. You're pushing too hard. Maybe I was never as weak as you said. Her voice dropped, careful. With what? With biting the hand that feeds you. He almost laughed. That night, he forwarded the latest bank statements and the recorded balcony call to Rachel Kim. Her reply was immediate, this is enough. If she moves again, it strengthens your case. She did move again. 2 days before the dinner, Owen received an automated email notification, one Camille had forgotten to disable, about a wire transfer to an investment group in Seattle. Amount substantial. He confronted her in the kitchen. You transferred another $50,000. She didn't deny it. It's an opportunity. You used my retirement. It's our retirement. You put it under your LLC. That protects us. It protects you. She stepped closer. You wouldn't understand strategic risk. I understand theft. Her hand slapped the marble countertop. How dare you? How dare you? He replied calmly. For a moment, it felt like the condo walls were closing in. You're ungrateful, she said. You think any woman would stay after her husband becomes a liability. Is that what I am? Yes, she said, the word sharp as glass. You are. The silence that followed was different from the others. He didn't flinch this time. Good, he said quietly. She frowned. Good. Now I know. The night of the dinner arrived cold and clear. The Chicago skyline glittered beyond their balcony like something untouchable. Camille wore a fitted emerald dress. Her hair was flawless. The condo smelled of roasted garlic and expensive wine. Her parents arrived first, all warm hugs and sympathetic glances toward Owen. Oh, sweetheart, her mother said softly. How are you holding up? I'm steady, he replied. Camille interjected lightly. He means emotionally. I meant physically, he corrected. Her father cleared his throat. You're lucky to have Camille, not everyone steps up. Owen nodded slowly. I've noticed. Her colleagues from Seattle arrived next, animated and curious. Wine flowed. At the head of the table, Camille tapped her glass for attention. I just want to say, she began, voice trembling slightly for effect. This year tested me in ways I never imagined. Murmurs of sympathy. Caring for someone who can't contribute, who resists help, who forgets conversations. I don't forget, Owen said calmly. She pressed on as if he hadn't spoken. It's been exhausting, but I stayed because that's what love does. Applause, soft but affirming. Owen looked around the table. He saw belief. He saw doubt. He saw opportunity. Camille lifted her glass to resilience. Owen placed both palms on the table and pushed himself up. No brace. No hesitation. The room stilled. Her mother gasped softly. Her father leaned forward. Camille's smile froze. You're standing, one of the Seattle colleagues said. Yes, Owen replied evenly, I am. He reached into the inside pocket of his jacket and removed a thick envelope. I'd like to add something to the toast, he said. Camille's voice sharpened. Owen, sit down. I will, he replied, after. He laid copies of documents across the table. Refinance papers, bank transfers, LLC filings, printed transcripts of her recorded call. Her father picked one up. What is this? He asked. Forgery, Owen said calmly, and asset diversion. Camille laughed, but the sound was brittle. He's confused. I stopped medication months ago, he replied. Her mother's face paled. Camille. It's business, Camille insisted. He agreed. I did not. You don't remember. I remember everything, he said quietly. Silence spread like ink in water. Her father's jaw tightened as he scanned the pages. Is this true? He demanded. Camille looked around the table, at the colleagues, at her parents, at Owen standing unassisted. For the first time, she didn't have the room. Owen, she said softly, shifting tone, why are you doing this? He met her eyes. Because I'm not diminished, he said, and I'm not yours to manage. The tension was no longer building. It was breaking. The room was frozen. Glasses clinked faintly as someone set down a wine bottle, but no one touched it. Camille's fingers trembled slightly as she reached for the papers, then pulled back. Her carefully constructed world, the one she had spun for months, was crumbling in silence. Owen's gaze swept across the table. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse beyond stating facts. His voice was calm, measured, deliberate. I have copies of every transaction, every document you manipulated, every conversation I recorded. It's all here. You underestimated me because I was quiet. You assumed weakness was surrender. It's not. Her father's hand shook slightly as he held a page. Camille, he said slowly, this is serious. Camille's colleagues exchanged uneasy glances. One of them murmured, I didn't know. You didn't see it, she said sharply. You weren't here. Yes, she was, Owen said, voice steady. I was, and I've been observing every move you made while pretending to be weaker than I am. Every document forged, every transfer, every excuse, all of it documented. Camille's voice faltered. You're making this public. This isn't public, Owen replied. It's factual. It's between the people who need to see the truth. He glanced at Rachel Kim's email open on his phone, confirming he was legally covered. This isn't revenge, it's clarity. Her parents stared at her. Their faces were masks of disbelief and disappointment. For the first time, Camille felt the weight of judgment from people she wanted to impress the most. You built a narrative where you were the martyr, Owen said, each word deliberate. But the people who mattered, the people who trusted both of us, can see the real story now. And it's not you carrying anyone, it's you breaking trust. Camille's shoulders slumped slightly. I was protecting us, she whispered, almost pleading. Protecting yourself, Owen corrected softly. Everything you did protected only you, and you counted on me to stay silent while you redefined reality. Her mother shook her head, voice quivering. Camille, this isn't about strength, this is manipulation. You think I don't know, Camille said defensively. I did what I had to. You did what you wanted, Owen said. And I let it happen until now because you thought I wouldn't fight back. You thought I wouldn't recover. Her father set the page down heavily. Camille, you have a lot to answer for. Owen straightened fully, the brace gone from his leg. I'm done letting you decide my limits. I'm walking away from this, not in anger, but in clarity. I'm reclaiming my life, my finances, and my peace. She opened her mouth, but no words came. The tension was deafening. For weeks, she had been controlling every aspect of the household, isolating him from family, friends, and decisions he should have made. And now, in the quietest, most devastating way, her control was stripped. Owen picked up his coat, slipping his phone and the flash drive into the inner pocket. He walked toward the balcony, feeling the cold Chicago wind hit his face. The skyline stretched beyond Lake Michigan, twinkling against the diamonding sky. For the first time since the crash, he felt fully present, fully himself. You're leaving? Camille finally asked, voice small. Yes, he said, and this time I'm not looking back. Her parents remained seated, shocked into silence. Her colleagues didn't know where to look. Camille, who had orchestrated months of quiet control, found herself stripped bare in front of the very people she had wanted to impress. Owen paused on the balcony, looking back one last time. He didn't wave. He didn't smirk. There was no need for theatrics. His victory wasn't revenge, it was peace. He stepped off the balcony into the hallway, walked down the elevator, and stepped outside into the brisk Chicago night. The city was alive with honking taxis, distant laughter, and the muted hum of traffic. He felt the cold air on his face, the weight of the past months fatting with every step. The streets were empty enough to feel quiet, but alive enough to remind him that the world hadn't stopped. He walked with a steady, confident stride, not needing validation from anyone. No one could underestimate him now. In that stillness, he allowed himself to reflect on everything that had happened. The accident, the betrayal, the isolation, the manipulation. Every insult, every sly comment, every fake smile, it had all built him into someone sharper, more precise, more aware. He hadn't just survived. He had learned, adapted, and reclaimed what was his by right. Finally, Owen reached the corner of Michigan Avenue, the skyscrapers of downtown Chicago glowing behind him. He stopped, inhaled, and let the wind sweep across his face. The pain in his leg was now a reminder of endurance, not limitation. The betrayal he had endured was now evidence of his resilience. He whispered to himself almost like a mantra, "Still water runs deep, and it remembers everything." Owen turned and walked away from the condo, away from Camille, away from the life that had tried to define him through weakness. Every step forward was a reclamation of his dignity, of his autonomy, and of the quiet power he had discovered within himself. As he disappeared into the city streets, the camera would linger on the empty condo balcony, the papers still on the dining table, Camille standing frozen, and the glittering Chicago skyline behind her. A silent witness to the man she had underestimated, and to the life he had courageously taken back. The story closes not with anger or loud confrontation, but with the quiet, undeniable victory of a man who chose clarity, patience, and self-respect over chaos, manipulation, or revenge. Owen's journey was over, but his life had only just begun, and this time it was truly his own.